Hello everyone, this is Seraphel, and I am back here in Link to the Past. This is the US version because this works in every version I know of. I'm going to be demonstrating a little glitch called Diver Down that lets you basically walk under the water in the flooded areas as though they're not flooded. I'll start the demonstration here in the basement in the back part, as this is always of some relevance if you can do it. It lets you skip going around to the lever where you have to push it to drain the water here and just hop right into these chests and get them. Obviously, if you just jump off the stairs, you end up in the water, and you can't interact with anything down there. As I understand it, though, there's a bit of an oddity in the way layers work in this dungeon. Normally, dungeon areas indoors, there are two layers which things happen on. There's the primary layer, which in this area would be the upper part here. And normally you would expect the lower part to be a separate layer, but actually in the Swamp Palace the water is a different layer. The top and bottom sections are actually the same layer, so I think that is part of why this works. But basically what we need to do is clip into the railing, hop down. That will cause us to stay on the layer where the stuff is and bypass the water, because this is only set up to transition you into the water and out of the water at where the staircase is. If you can go around that, you're just down there and everything behaves as if there's no water and you're just standing on the ground. Now, you can do this with either bombs or the Cane of Samaria. I prefer the cane setup as I usually do, but either one will work. But before doing that, there's a little bit of wiggling around in the water that you need to do to get yourself set up properly for most of the setups. The main setups I've seen involve either dropping a block around here or sticking a bomb somewhere over here, getting up in the corner here and kind of getting yourself wedged into this railing here. But if you're just standing here where you can get to normally, that's not good enough. You need to be 1 pixel higher. If you watch Link's shadow here closely, you'll see when I'm pressing right, it's here. If I tap up, it's slightly higher. If I tap right again, I go down a bit, but 1 pixel to the right. Basically, I need to get right into that little corner that's 1 pixel above this and 1 pixel to the right of this. And so basically, to get this to work, you have to do a bit of tricky maneuvering in and out of the water. This is why when you see people do this, you'll see them jumping in and out of the water. It is part of the setup. It's not an optional thing to make it work better. You do actually need to do this. So basically, what you want to do is when you jump in the water, while you're in the air, you hold down and right until you're actually in the water. Then, when you're about to jump out, you hold just right. So, let's see if I can get this to work first try. There. Now you can see here, if you compare my shadow to where it was earlier, I'm 1 pixel higher, but also all the way into the right. This is where you want to be for this trick. If I tap up now, you'll notice that it moves slightly to the right. If I tap to the right, I move slightly down. So I was in that little corner that you need to get to that you can't get to with normal maneuvering. Now I'll start with the bomb setup, because that's a little pickier. So for the bomb setup, you want to be at an exact vertical coordinate. You want your shadow to have 1 pixel between the shadow and the blue edge of the, I guess it's the trim around the wall there. So right about here. As far as horizontal positioning goes, that's a little more lenient. I think right around here is probably good. So, I'll drop a bomb, do the little water maneuvering, and hopefully it will work. And no, I didn't get the jump in and out part quite right. This is one reason I don't like the bomb setup. Because if you don't get it right the first try, you have to start over again, waste resources, yeah. And several tries later than I'd like to admit, there you go, you're pushed into the railing, and once you're here you just hold up. You hop down here, you can grab the parts out of the pots, you can grab the chests if you haven't already, and you can just walk out of the room and go straight up through here, and everything works fine. The Cane of Samaria setup is fairly similar. I find it easier to do. Basically, you go along the railing here, press up until you're up against it, walk to the left, drop a block right around there so that it's sticking out past the railing a little bit. I didn't get the... Nope. Didn't get it again. This is what I find is the trickiest part of the trick. There. So once you're here, you hold your sword out, kind of held up and right, and yeah. I sometimes see people pick up the pots to cancel the spin attack, but you don't need to do that. You just get into the water and you're fine. Note that when you're in the water, you can get back out by coming up the stairs. You'll hop up and into the water and you'll be swimming, and then everything is the same as if you had just been in the water swimming to begin with. Now, in addition to that shortcut in the basement, you can also use Diver Down over here on the left side of Swamp Palace, where, especially if you're playing Randomizer and found the hookshot before coming here, which hopefully you did, you can bypass a lot of stuff by unlocking the door over here, coming in here early, flooding the passage over there. Now this leaves the key under that pot flooded, so you need to use Diver Down to get into it, but you can combine this with another little trick here, where you stick a bomb by the crystal switch in this room, and as it starts to explode, you go through the door. You notice the bomb went off right next to the switch, but it did not change the state of the blocks. That's important. Because this is on the same super tile, the game kind of remembers that the explosion is there, so if I can get back up into that room, the explosion will finish and trigger the switch blocks to switch. I'll just do the Diver Down trick here. I'm having trouble with the jumping in and out again. Yeah, jump in, down and right. There we go. That will throw fireballs at you while you have your sword out. You come through the door, and there, the lingering explosion tripped the switch, and you can grab the key and carry on. There is also one additional Cane+splash setup I'm aware of. This one is a little different because you do it on the left side, and you don't jump into the water. So you kind of, again, you get lined up with a railing, you drop your block here, you press up and left to get into this corner here, and this is where it gets a little tricky, because as the wiki described it, you're supposed to tap down and hold up and left on the same frame. So the only way I've gotten that to work consistently is if you tap down, go into menu, hold up and left in the menu, and as you're coming out, and you switch to pressing left, put your sword out, and you go through the railing and down into the stuff. If you can get it to work, it's a quicker and arguably easier setup. You can't really do that upstairs where the left side is, because there really isn't a left side there. But yeah, it works just fine here. And you don't even need to jump in and out of the water, so again, that makes it slightly faster. See if I can just do it again real quick. Now that's too far down. And there, I accidentally pressed the block, so that's something you need to watch out for when you're doing this. So, yeah, I pushed it too far again. Get up into the corner there. Tap down for just a little bit. You need to go one frame down, hold up and left. Switch to pressing left. Stick your sword out, holding left and left. And there you go. Now that last setup may raise some additional questions, because obviously you can only do the jump in and out of water thing in Swamp Palace where there is water, but what about dropping a block over here and doing the little wiggle maneuver? That'll work any place you have this set up where there's railing next to stairs facing in this direction. Now, the answer to this, it depends on where you do it. In a lot of places, you just hop off the ledge, you'll be on the lower level. It's the same as if you went down the stairs, so there's no point to it at all. Here, though, it's a little different. So if I do this, get one pixel down, not two. Hold up and left. Face left. Pull my sword out, and something weird happened here. Yeah, because this isn't a normal drop-off, because there's no lower level here, there's more wall. So you just kind of walk right through it, and you're just walking around. And because you're just walking around, I didn't actually switch layers, so according to the game, I'm still on the upper level. Which means these railings are solid, I can't go through the wall here, obviously, but I can go on to the sides, because there's nothing there on the upper layer. Now if I go up the stairs, you'll notice Link kind of disappears behind the floor. That's because going up the stairs transitions you between layers, so now, according to the game, I'm on the lower layer, which means we're in the major glitch called the exploration glitch. I can just kind of go through the walls. There's nothing here on the lower level because you're not supposed to be on the lower layer, so you can just kind of walk through pretty much anywhere. Obviously, there are some rooms where there is a lower layer, where you can kind of hop down into it, and then you'll just be back to normal, but in some place that possibly you weren't supposed to be able to get to from there. You can also do all sorts of other things, as I've demonstrated in a previous video, like make your way to Ganon's room, go north, and find yourself in the end sequence. Now, for randomizer purposes, Diver Down is considered a minor glitch when used in Swamp Palace. If you do any of this weirdness anywhere else, that gets you into the Exploration glitch. Exploration glitch is a major glitch that is not allowed in racing. You can also do Diver Down in the entrance here, but that's completely pointless because... yeah, that happens sometimes if you start pressing up too soon. Yet, as I was saying, it's completely pointless because there's nothing down here and you can just get down here anyway by not flooding the channel from the light world. But anyway, that's a quick overview of Diver Down and how you use it appropriately in the Swamp Palace to get a few little shortcuts. This has been ALttP. I do glitches and Zelda stuff every so often. I do various other videos. If you're interested in any of those, feel free to check them out. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this and learned something from it.